handle, smooth yet firm in your hands. Taste the salt of your own sweat and the occasional splash of water. It's all part of the journey. Welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Each week, our host, Masters Rowing Coach Rebecca Caro, dives deep into the world of Masters Rowing. Whether you're on the water or in the gym, join us to become a faster master. Let's go rowing.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. I'm Rebecca Caro, and today we're going to be talking about getting the stroke rate up as part of your preparation as you move into racing, and racing as part of your hopefully that's part of your season here when you're rowing. Now, getting the stroke rate up is something that an awful lot of people complain about and saying that they find it really, really hard to get going and to make changes when you start to transition. So ideally, most people have some idea of how high they want to rate when they are starting to plan their race. Do you know that your race rate is going to be 28? Is it going to be 32? Is it going to be an odd number? There's a novelty. An awful lot of us find that odd numbers are somewhat easier to row than even numbers, but our coaches and our programs tend to specify even numbers. So that's a conversation for another day. But in your race preparation, it's really helpful if you have some idea as to what you want the main body of the race rate to be at. By that, I mean, after you finished your start, and from that period right the way through till when you start your finishing sprint. I do think that most people, when they do like pushes in the middle of a race, tend to take the rate up a little bit. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the kind of long average over the 3/4 to, I don't know, a little bit more than 3/4 of your race. Now, the key to getting your rate towards race pace is to learn how to do it progressively and gradually. In your training program, if you are following the Faster Masters training programs, you will find that some of our repeated workouts deliberately have different ratings specified. Those ratings change from month to month. So we have a particular session that is ladders. We have another session which is up to pieces over 500 to 1,000 meters. We have another one which includes speed ups. We have another one that includes another variant of how to change your rate. If your program isn't doing that, get on and have a look at some of the things that we have to offer. There is a discount coupon. If you go to our website /join, scroll down the page, you'll find a discount for your first payment. And remember, you get 2 months program at any one time. So on the 1st of July, you'll get both the June program and the July program. If you join today, which is the 21st of June, you will get the May and the June program. And then after the 1st of July, you'll then get the July program, but June will drop off. But you'll have got 3 months worth of programs to build up to your race in one single payment. Now, that's a bonus, isn't it? So what are the things that we can do in our practice to make us feel confident at getting the stroke rate up? So let's start with the absolute basics. From the raw beginnings, you've got to be able to be very precise in your practice on your blade work, how you handle the oars and sculls. Challenge to you, can you raise the precision with which you row? Can you align yourself with the person in front of you? If you're the stroke, can you make every stroke the same? By that, I mean coming out of the water at exactly the same place, making sure your handles are correctly aligned, that your thumbs brush your shirt at the same place, that you're not finishing level, that you're finishing with if you're sculling left hand slightly higher than the right, if you're sweep, making sure that you're tapping down mainly with your outside hand, feathering with your inside hand, that your oar goes into the water at exactly the same time as everyone else, that it squares at exactly the same time as everyone else. So this is base level, what I'd call precise practice. If you can increase that quality in your low rating workouts, in your warm-ups, you're setting yourself up for a really nice situation where you can benefit. Just rolling back, Tony Hamilton, if you pay you, our rate will go up. No guarantees there, Tony. It's up to the athlete to try and do the work so that the rate will go up. The other thing that is going to be really useful is to have a very clearly defined sequence. For that, I mean the complete rowing stroke cycle, how you do the movements on the recovery and in the power phase, how you sequence your legs, your back, and your arms so that they are correctly sequencing, the overlap is correct between one body part and the next, and that you are doing it in the same way as other people have. Row perfect. So we chose to use the Row Perfect rowing machine, mainly because it allows us to look at a force curve. There's force curves on Concept 2 rowing machines as well, but the one on the Row Perfect, the RP3, is particularly sensitive. It shows you very small variations in how you are delivering your power, and that helps you to work on your consistency. So our definition of our precise sequence was improved by doing that workout indoors. Yes, we could have gone on the water. It was quite windy, gusting. It was a decision that we took to get a really solid workout where we could check the numbers of the pressure and rate that we were producing. And we could look at each other and see whether I'm in a double, whether we were both making similar shaped force curves and what happened to our curves when we got tired. That's a particular place where your precision often falls apart. So your clearly defined sequence is the second thing that contributes to having fluid movements. And then the third thing is that you do these movements slowly initially, and then you test your skill under pressure. Two sorts of pressure. One is increasing rate, and the other is increasing pressure through the water. And then you can obviously do the two together. So you can do firm pressure, low rate. You can then do higher rate, but at light pressures. But the point is here, you find out where your technique breaks down, where it ceases to be as precise. And that shows you how skilled you've got and what you need to work on next. It's really easy to figure this out for yourself. Just get someone to video 3 or 4 strokes of your crew, slow it down, and you will be able to see very clearly where you are out of alignment. This is the thing that those top crews that race well have nailed. They're very aligned at different stroke rates and at different pressures, and it doesn't vary. And it's something that every rower, however experienced, can practice. So when you're doing your progressive stroke rate increases in your program, these are the things that you want to watch out for. If you're self-coaching, if you have a bowman, they can take a look at things like the blade entry and extraction. They can probably see everybody's finishes they make without turning their head. And that's a really simple thing that you can do using your peripheral vision. And you can tell the crew how well you're doing. Similarly, if you're a single sculler, hopefully you get to train with another single sculler. You can just get another crew just to sit and watch you and just give you quick feedback. one little bit of feedback of them watching maybe 2 minutes of you rowing will give you probably enough to work on for the rest of the outing. And if they're feeling confident, they might be able to video you from their boat as you row past. And that then gives you further information, data that you can take a look at when you're off the water and work on. Now, one of the things that helps to get the stroke rate up is over rating. By that, I mean learning to go to a stroke rate that is higher than you will actually need in your race. So say in your race, your target rate is 30. Can you practice rating 32, 34, 36, 38, even 40, so that when you come back down to rate 30, it feels really manageable and doable, like you have a lot of time to make the movements? So I'm going to suggest a couple of drills here that you can do in your practice that will help you feel more confident at your ability to get the stroke rate up. And the first is a drill that's done at half slide. We call it the half slide up to drill because you take the rate up 2 points every 3 strokes. So drop down to half slide and start by doing it at half pressure. And then every 5 to 10 strokes, say up to, next stroke, go, and you take the rate up to, and then you take the rate up to again and again and again. What you're looking for is the rate you get to when your technique starts to fall apart, when that precision of the precise practice, which we described earlier, when that starts to fall apart and the boat gets ragged, when people aren't getting their blades in and out together, maybe the balance goes off a little. Just note what rate you were at before it fell apart. And that is then your target for the future when you practice the drill again. Just as a general note, try to do a drill like that at least 3 times in every single outing so that you have opportunity first to learn it and then to refine your ability to deliver it. Now, your half slide drill, you can do it at increasing pressure. And you can choose to start at a higher rate. So you don't have to start at a rate of 18 or 20. You can say, right, we're going to start the half slide drill at 26 and we're going to build up from there and we're going to do 5 steps. In that way, you should get from 26 to 36, thereabouts. And that gives you a measure against which to judge yourself for the next time when you decide to do it. Now, the thing about half slide is because of the short slide, you have to go through your sequence in there's less time on the recovery. So it helps you to practice moving your handle faster as it comes out of the water and getting yourself set up into the catch position before you have to put the oars in at half slide. So you should be able to get yourself set up into your catch position by about 1/4 slide on the recovery. So that doesn't have to be faster than your normal rowing, but of course you're only sliding half the slide. And that's the thing that makes it feel like you're going faster. And that's what takes the rate up. Here's another one you can try, the double quick hands drill. This is double quick hands around the finish. You do it by taking the oars out of the water at the normal time and then moving your hands twice as fast as normal right around until you've got your weight on the feet on the recovery. You don't have to do it to weight on the feet. You could do it just to hands away and bodies over. You could do it to a specified place like quarter slide, as I mentioned earlier. But by making your hands move more quickly through that part of the recovery, it helps you to develop the fluidity of movement. It helps you to practice making your handles move quickly at a higher rate. So say you're rowing at a rate 20, you're at full slide, you're rowing rate 20, you know that your hand speeds are at a rate 20. If you go twice as quick, just around the finish, around to bodies over, your handle speed, say, starts to move at about a rate 30. But then the rest of your slide is at a rate 20, so that you go nice and slowly up the slide take a rate 20 stroke through the water, but then move twice as fast around the finish. And what it helps you to do is to feel that you have like an almost automatic movement of your hands, like they know where they're going. You don't have to think about it. Going back to the precise practice, what's really important in this drill is that you watch the elbows of the person in front of you. And if you're the stroke, you've got to be very precise that your double quick movement stops at that pre-agreed place, which might be hands away and bodies over, or it might be quarter slide, as we discussed earlier. So that you then, from that point forwards, use the normal lower rate, which reflects the stroke rate that you want to be rowing at. You want to try and do this without thinking about it, so that you can have a fluid, almost automatic movement. It's like running downstairs really quickly. If you run downstairs really quickly, you can try this at home. Hold the handrail if you've got one, and you just want your feet to move and your legs to move without you having to think, so that they just go brrr, and you're down, half a dozen steps really, really fast. And you can speed that movement up by getting your feet to work without you thinking about which foot goes next, left or right. And it's the same sort of idea with the double quick hands drill. And after you've come off that drill, try doing 10 strokes firm and just let the rate be what the rate wants to be, and just see what happens. Because I'll bet you that your rate comes up quite naturally, and that you get a really good feeling of fluidity around the finish, an almost unhurried movement, but it doesn't cause disruption as you transition off the power phase and onto the recovery phase. Now, the other thing you can do is overrating, which I discussed earlier. And for this, what you want to do is just paddle and then pick a target rate. Let's say your target rate is 34 or 36, and you accelerate at firm pressure up to that rate. So you've just got to go faster, faster, faster on the rate, faster on the rate, until you hit the rate. And when you hit the rate, do 10 strokes at that rate, and then just wind down to light pressure, take the rating down, have a little rest and recovery, but keep paddling, then do it again and pick a higher rate. See how you go. Can you get to 40? Can you get to 42? Are there some sort of rates where you tend to sort of stall when you're gradually building the rate up? Do you find you can get really easily to 28 and then you then have to really work hard or continue to think about moving dynamically to get over 30, for example? So try and watch for those places in your own rowing, because that will really help you do is figure out what changes in the way you approach your power and your dynamic movement, particularly around the finish, where you need to pay attention to that in order to get the rate up. And once you've done a couple of these and you've managed to do 10 strokes at 34, at 38, maybe at 40, then try just doing the same, but only going up to your target race rate, which maybe it's 30, maybe it's 33, whatever it is, and see how much time you feel that you have there and how many strokes it takes you to get up that unit. Can you get up from paddling at a rate of 20 to your race pace of 33? Can you get there in 6 strokes, in 9 strokes? Can you get there in 5 strokes without rushing? And what does it feel when you're there? Do you then feel that you have plenty of time and that you can successfully manage that race rate? Because that's the point about your mid-race rate. It needs to be something that you can achieve over and over and over, that you don't have to worry too much about hitting the rate. You don't have to worry too much about the pressure. You don't have to worry too much about your blade work. You should be able to feel that it's a consistent, ongoing thing that you can deliver sustainably over a reasonably long period of time. It's kind of like a little diesel engine that's going. That's what you're doing. You want it to feel like it's always the same, but it's well within your capabilities. You're not at the limit of trying to you're about to blow up because you can't take another stroke. So that's one of the things that also helps you determine what should your race rate be. Because when it comes to getting the stroke rate up, as you practice, you may be able to challenge your preconceptions about what you think you'll be doing on race day. Notwithstanding headwinds and tailwinds, if you started off now, it's June, say your big race is in July or in August, practicing these drills regularly, maybe as part of your warm-up every time you go out for a workout, will help you to get more and more familiar with the feeling of what it takes to get the boat to that higher rate and the ease that you can do it once you've practiced many times. So you might find that your race rate, instead of thinking you could do 32, maybe you can do 32 and a half, maybe you can do 33 and still have that feeling of sustainability, like that you can keep it going for a long time through the main body of the race. So there you go. That's my thoughts on preparing to race. Please get in touch if you think that you've got some ideas or you want to clarify any of those questions. And till next time, bye-bye.
We are part of the Rowing Chat Podcast Network. Please tell your fellow rowers about the show. If you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.